How to price your real estate photography services in 2025. That's exactly what we're tackling today. I'm Jordan. I've been in the real estate business for over 5 years now and an online coach for 2 of those years, helping both new and experienced real estate photographers earn more revenue and help build their businesses. Pricing your services can feel overwhelming, but by the end of this video, you'll have a clear strategy to set rates that are fair, competitive, and profitable. Let's dive in. First, let's talk about why pricing matters. Your rates aren't just about covering costs, they're about communicating your value, attracting the right clients, and building a sustainable business model that can help you over the long term. We'll break this down into 4 key steps. Number 1, understanding your costs. Number 2, researching the market. Number 3, structuring your pricing. And number 4, communicating your value to your clients. But let's start with step 1, understanding your costs. Before you can set your prices, you need to know how much it costs to run your business. Things like gear costs, cameras, lenses, tripods, drones, any flashes, lighting. These are big investments. They're no joke. Calculate how much you've spent and how long you think they'll last. That's something like depreciation schedule, which you don't necessarily have to get really into, but it's a good idea to have like, okay, I spent $6,000 on everything, and if you did that, it's very cheap, more like $10,000, and then I'll show you how to do that a little bit later, how to attribute that to the costs per shoot that you're doing. You'll also want to cover software, so editing software like Lightroom or Photoshop, website hosting, invoice tools, those all add up. In addition to that, travel expenses, so gas, vehicle maintenance, even your time driving to shoots, and also your time. Don't forget to pay yourself. Factor in the time you spend shooting, editing, and communicating with clients. Once you know your costs, you can set up a baseline for your pricing. For example, if it costs you $200 to complete a shoot, you'll need to charge more than that to make a profit. Before we move on to step 2, I want to quickly go over what I mentioned just a bit ago about forwarding your costs into something. So if you have $10,000 worth of gear, software, all in, and that it won't necessarily cost you $200 to complete a shoot in terms of your editing costs and your drive time. But when you factor in all of the costs, let's say you do 10 shoots a month and your overhead is $10,000 total. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can either separate it out through the year or you can do it monthly. So if you do monthly, let's take that $10,000 and divide it by 12. That's $833 a month. So let's make that an even, I don't know, $850 just to make the math make sense. You have to attribute that $850 split up between all the shoots that you do. So if you do 10 shoots a month, that's $85 in additional cost. So let's roll this out here a little bit. So our cost is $85. Maybe our additional cost is $25 for editing photos. That's $85 plus $25, that's $110. We'll factor in another, I don't know, $10 for driving there, another $100 for our time, and then maybe, I don't know, $5 for delivery. That's at $225 cost, including your time. So $225 for photography would be a really good price to start at. You also have to, take into consideration your market and, what you can charge for these services. And this number, your monthly per shoot overhead is gonna, change a little bit. And it gets a little bit easier because if you take that same $850 and you divide that over the same 10 shoots, it's still $85, but let's say you're doing $500 shoots, suddenly it becomes a whole lot more profitable. So that's what I mean about attributing your costs to the shoots themselves, because your editing cost and your drive time is not the only cost per shoot. But let's move on to section 2. Research the market. You don't want to price yourself out of the market, but you also don't want to undervalue your work. Here's how to find the sweet spot. Check your competitors. Look at other real estate photographers in your area. What are they charging? What services do they offer? If you want to watch a video on going through how to do a competition spreadsheet, you can click somewhere above my head. Additionally, you'll want to know the niche that you're in. Are you targeting luxury properties, small homes, commercial real estate? Each niche has different pricing expectations. You also have to adjust for experience. If you're just starting out, you might charge less than someone with 10 years of experience, but don't sell yourself short. And a pro tip here, you can call a few local photographers and ask for quotes. Pretend to be a realtor. This will give you a sense of what clients are willing to pay if your competitors don't have their prices on their website. Step 3 is to structure your pricing itself. Now that you know your costs and the market rates, it's time to create a pricing structure. Here are 3 common approaches. You could do a per property pricing, charge a flat rate based on the size or type of property. For example, $150 for a condo, $250 for a single family home, and $500 for something like luxury real estate. You'd want to do based on square footage of the property as well. So when you do a tier system like that, you do $150 for something like a condo, which would be like 1,000 square feet or less, $250 for a single family home up to 2,000 square feet, and then $500 for luxury real estate. You might do flash ambient photography, it might be bigger houses, that sort of thing. You could also do hourly rates, which I don't recommend, but it's out there. You could charge by the hour for shooting and editing, and this works really well if properties vary greatly in size and complexity. That would be more along the lines of high-end real estate if you're doing really big packages for, 7,000 square foot, $40 million mansions, that sort of thing. A square footage tiered pricing system probably wouldn't make sense. It would be a per project, basically like a value end, where it would be, hey, I'm gonna spend about 30 hours on this, and then you come up with a quote based on that. You could also do package pricing, which is what I do. You offer tiered packages like basic, that would include photos, aerial photos, standard, which would do photos, aerial photos, 2D floor plan, and so on and so forth. Premium, which would come with a property video and all kinds of stuff like that. If you want to watch more videos on bundles, I've got a ton of them on this channel, but this one specifically gives a lot of really good information going over something called a sales ladder, which is really helpful for making more money. And a pro tip here, always include a clear breakdown of what's included in each package on your website or in your phone calls with clients. This helps give them clear expectations and clear understanding of the value that they're getting, which brings me to step 4, communicating your value. Pricing isn't just about the numbers, it's about how you present them and what someone's getting for those numbers. Here's how you confidently communicate your value to your clients. Number 1, you want to highlight your experience. Share your experience, your portfolio, and any certifications or training you might have on your website. When you're talking to a client, you can explain the process. You can walk clients through what they can expect from the shoot to the final delivery. Additionally, you can do an upsell strategy. If a client is hesitant, you can offer a lower tier package first, then explain the benefits of upgrading. For example, for an extra $100, we can include drone shots that will make your listing stand out and give an idea of where the property is in relation to its surroundings. Remember, clients aren't just paying for photos, they're paying for your skills, time, and results you deliver. And this is going a little bit off script here, but the thing that I want to mainly get across to you is that if you think like a real estate photographer, you're gonna get real estate photographer rates. But if you communicate yourself as a marketing expert, a marketing concierge in these situations where clients are coming to you, where my clients frequently tell me like, hey, I've got this property, here's the address, why don't you look it up? Tell me what services you recommend and then just do it. Because they trust me to not stuff every single property. If it's a 1,400 square foot, 2-bedroom condo or whatever, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you need a Matterport, you need a property video with drone video. I might tell them like, hey, maybe photos, floor plan, aerial photos, and a quick reel is going to be good enough. So when you build up that trust, you make a whole lot more money because your clients essentially just defer to you, your skills, your expertise. So let's recap the 4 steps to pricing your real estate photography services. Number 1, you need to know your costs. Calculate your expenses to set a baseline and then attribute that baseline to each individual shoot that you do to really understand how much you're spending to fulfill these services. Number 2, you need to research the market, understand what your competitors are charging for and where you fit in. Again, if you want to see a video about filling out that competitor worksheet, click somewhere above my head. Structure your pricing is number 3. Choose a pricing model that works for your business. This is something like the per hour, the per property. You can even charge per photo, even though I don't recommend that. Or you can do the package pricing with the square footage, that sort of thing. And then the last one is communicating your value. Confidently explain why your services are worth the investment. When you follow these steps, you'll set rates that are fair, competitive, and profitable, and it sets your business up for success over the long term. Thanks for watching. This is kind of it for this video. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stick around. This is kind of what I talk about all the time, and there's a ton of really valuable information and a lot of really good videos coming up. But that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.